All right, today we're going to talk about a framework for real client growth. And I mean real, consistent growth, not just little tweaks. We're going deep. And it all kicks off with a problem that, well, every single one of us in the digital marketing world knows way too well.
Okay, so if you've ever run ads or created content, you know this part. It's almost easy, right? You can turn on that fire hose of traffic, open the floodgates, and boom, visitors start pouring into a website. That's step one. And honestly, it's usually the easiest part of the whole puzzle. But the real challenge?
Yep, you guessed it. This is the moment of truth. This is where the rubber meets the road, where the money is actually made. And it's exactly where most campaigns just fall apart. Getting people to do something, buy, sign up, book that call, that's the whole ballgame.
So let's dig into that, the real conversion problem. Because we're not just talking about clicks and visits here. We're talking about meaningful, profitable action. And that brings us to conversion rate optimization, or CRO. I mean, this is the official definition right here. It's basically the art and science of getting more of your visitors to take the action you want them to take. Simple enough. But here's the thing. There is a huge difference between basic, everyday CRO and the advanced stuff we're talking about today.
And listen, this is probably the most important point of this whole explainer. When most people hear CRO, their mind immediately goes to, oh, should I change my button from green to red, right? Well, advanced CRO, that's a whole different ballgame. It's a completely different way of thinking. It's about looking at the entire customer journey, from the very first ad they see all the way to that final thank you for your purchase page.
So that kind of begs the question, right? Why surface-level CRO fails? If so many people are supposedly doing CRO, why aren't they seeing big results? Why do they fail to really move the needle? Well, let's talk about the usual suspects. I mean, come on, you've seen this stuff a million times. Maybe you've even tried it. Changing headlines, testing button colors, moving some stuff around on the page. Look, these things can sometimes give you a teeny, tiny little bump, but they almost never lead to massive, game-changing growth.
So why is that? Why do these little changes almost never create a major impact? If everyone calls them best practices, why aren't they working wonders? The answer is simple. Because these tactics are just cosmetic. They're basically like slapping a new coat of paint on a wall that has deep, structural cracks in its foundation. It might look a little better for a second, but it doesn't fix the real problem.
And here it is. This is the big aha moment. The problem is almost always way deeper. Think about it. A new button color can't fix an offer that nobody actually wants. A super clever headline is totally useless if you're sending the wrong people to the page in the first place. And no amount of rearranging your layout is going to fix a fundamental lack of trust. See? Real CRO is about fixing these problems, the big foundational ones.
Okay, so how do we fix them? Well, not by just taking random shots in the dark. We need a system, a repeatable process. And that, my friends, is where the Core 4 framework comes in. This gives us a structured way to figure out what's really wrong and how to fix it. So let's break this down. It's basically a 4-layer cake of optimization. First, traffic quality. Are we even talking to the right people? Second, offer clarity. Is it super obvious and compelling what we're offering? Third, user experience. Is the whole process smooth and easy? And fourth, trust and proof. Do people actually believe us and feel safe? When you optimize all 4 of these things together, that's when you see real, meaningful results.
All right, theory's great, but now let's put this framework to work. Let's get practical and see how to apply each of these layers.
First up, let's talk traffic quality versus traffic volume. Now, this is so important. As marketers, we are obsessed with volume, right? More clicks, more visitors, bigger numbers. But this framework forces you to stop and focus on quality. I'm telling you, 100 visitors who are actively looking for your exact solution are worth way more than 10,000 who are just kind of browsing. Volume without the right intent, that's just expensive noise.
So how do you actually analyze that traffic intent? Well, you got to put on your detective hat. Dig into the keywords people are using. Are they searching for a problem or are they searching for a solution? Big difference. Look really closely at your ad targeting. Are you being super specific or are you just casting a huge, wasteful net? And check out where your traffic is coming from. Someone who clicks a link from a trusted industry blog is in a totally different headspace than someone coming from some random clickbait article. Okay, on to layer 2, the offer and the messaging. And honestly, this is where you can often find some of the biggest, fastest wins. You have to ask yourself this one simple, brutally honest question. Is the value obvious?
If someone lands on your page for the first time and can't figure out exactly what you do and why it's great for them in like 5 seconds, you've lost. It's over. Your message has to be crystal clear and all about the amazing outcome they're going to get.
Next up, we need to optimize that user experience. This is all about one thing, ruthlessly, and I mean ruthlessly, removing friction. Think about it. Every extra second your page takes to load, that's friction. A confusing menu? Friction. A form that asks for too much info? That's friction. And friction is the silent killer of conversions. You want the journey to be smooth, simple, and fast. That's what keeps people moving forward. And finally, layer 4, building those trust signals. This is huge. People are skeptical online, you know? They're holding onto their credit cards for dear life. You have to earn their trust. And you do that with things like real testimonials from happy customers, in-depth case studies, logos of clients they recognize, and honest-to-goodness reviews. All these things scream, hey, we're legitimate. You can trust us.
And let's just pause on that for a second. Trust is one of the biggest drivers of conversion. It's not about how flashy your design is or how clever your words are. It really comes down to this fundamental human thing. If they don't trust you, they're not going to convert. End of story.
Okay, so applying this framework one time is awesome, but this is where the real magic happens, when you turn it into the cycle of continuous growth. And this right here is a huge mindset shift. CRO is not a project, it's a process. See, a project has a start date and an end date. A process is something you do all the time to keep getting better. Real CRO is never done. It's this constant cycle of learning, adapting, and improving. That means you have to continuously test and refine. You're always learning from your audience. You're A/B testing headlines. You're trying out different versions of your landing page. You're playing with how you position your offer. And over time, all these little data-driven wins, they start to add up. They compound into absolutely massive results. So let's put it all together. This is basically your cheat sheet. This is the framework for growth. You analyze your traffic quality, you improve your messaging, you optimize the user experience, you build up those trust signals, and then you test and refine continuously. That's the whole loop. And here's the bottom line. When you follow this framework, you're not just chasing little unpredictable bumps in your conversion rate anymore. You start creating what clients really want: predictable, scalable, and real business growth. So I'll just leave you with this one last question to think about. When you look at your own strategy, are you fixing the foundation, or are you just painting the walls? Are you just changing button colors and headlines, or are you using a real framework to fix the deep, foundational problems that actually drive results? Because honestly, the answer to that question, it's going to determine your success.